Good afternoon. A few words about GreenLane, fast-tracking value and resilience in industrial wood supply. Rather poetic title, we thought. It's being run by Boku in Austria, Skogforska Sweden, and Nibio in Norway. This is our supply chain, forest to mill. Our industries are dependent on a stable, year-round supply of even log quality. So GreenLane focuses on value tracking to develop managerial responses for improved mill value in the face of challenging climate scenarios. This is about logging and transport. When the weather changes, it's painfully obvious for all the parties. Goal, we want to make a virtual supply chain lab enabling interactive testing of harvesting and transport responses to these challenging climate scenarios. So the focus is on implementing weather-driven models both for wood quality and availability. The output, hopefully, is best practice guidelines for managerial response that will improve the resilience of our wood supply systems. We want to be able to keep deliveries on track regardless of what the weather looks like. We're not starting from scratch. GreenLane builds on Eranet Multistrat. We have already established business process frameworks, time series, harvesting production, temperature, snow, precipitation, and simulation models for the same constellation. If you want to learn something quick, visit the extremes. Within our consortium, we have continental, subarctic, and oceanic conditions. So continental, that's Boku, working with the Austrian state forests. This time I managed to put the red dot in the right spot. The last meeting was over here somewhere. It wasn't very popular. Embarrassing. Subarctic, we have Skogforsk working with Norra Skogsägarna, Forest Owners Association, North Sweden. And in the wet west, we have Nibio working with Allskog against the Atlantic. So we have each our industrial partner who we work quite closely with. Value tracking is basically, the key is lead time tracking of logs from harvesting to delivery and keeping track of the deterioration according to storage conditions, weather, duration at each spot in the supply chain. It's a detail, but it's important. Over here you see a time series of lead times throughout the year. When it goes up there, that means the wood is staying in the forest a long time. That's a problem. That's value loss directly. So, our simulation architectures, they provide a timeline for value tracking of logs, loads, entities. And the key element, at least one, is the interaction between temperature, precipitation, humidity, and storage conditions on wood deterioration. A lot of work was done on this 2000, 2010, so we have lots of good numbers from before. There's a bit of validation to be done there, but the challenge is putting it together in one virtual environment where people can actually sit and test. So we have about a half a year to agree on this is the way we think we can put it together. We have a couple of years on developing sub-models for value tracking and managerial response. How do we handle certain events? And then the last year, we go to actually running the models. The last point, workshops. Impact. I'm remembering that word from this morning. This is about changing the way companies work. So for us, when we say a workshop, that means you take 40 managers, you say you 20, you get 4 hours to solve these scenarios. You 20, you get 4 hours to solve these scenarios. You guys work like this, you guys work like that. And at the end of the day, you see how we did. Response is immediate. People get happy, people get angry, people say, this isn't the way we work. So development takes time, but it's sort of adventurous running this sort of work. It's not always fun, but it's definitely engaging. That was it for GreenLane.